of station staff, management, and advertisers.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. We made it to Friday. Yes, we did. What's up, PTL Nation? The ever so growing, pushing the limits, PTL family. Glad you all could join us on what is another busy news day, and we appreciate all of you being here. We're in the YouTube Super Chat, of course. Your questions and comments will be read. Check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. The YouTube page is at PTL Radio Show. We're also part of the Really American Network. We're on their YouTube page as well. X, you name it, we're everywhere. We appreciate you being here. We have received word, and we don't know for sure yet, but there is a possibility that at the bottom of the hour, Donald Trump could be joining us on the line. So I'm just throwing that out there. You might not want to miss it. If he does join us, we were told it's going to be somewhere in the bottom of the hour. Anyway, we appreciate you all being here on what is another busy news day. You know, today, I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but today marks the day that Trump was supposed to impose tough new sanctions on Russia if they didn't agree to a ceasefire. So what happened today? Well, what Putin did is what we all thought he would do. He called Donald Trump's bluff, and missiles were raining down on Ukraine in overnight strikes as the U.S. deadline for a ceasefire arrived. And what has Donald Trump done about it? Nothing. And it is clearly apparent that Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin have no sign of putting an end to this war, killing innocent people. But you see, we all knew that. And when Donald Trump ran for office and he said that this war would be over in 24 hours, all I have to do is pick up the phone. If you have an IQ over 20, you would have understood that that was a lie, among all of his other lies when he ran for office this time around, same as last time. We know that 2 women aged 56 and 60 and a schoolgirl at the age of 16 were seriously injured in these Russian strikes overnight. And all Donald Trump has said is he's disappointed. We remember the Truth Social tweet that Donald Trump put out when he said, Vladdy, stop it. Like some sort of school child in a kindergarten class. And Trump has threatened sanctions over and over and over again. Well, the deadline has passed, Mr. President. What are you going to do about it? I guarantee you he's going to do nothing. He'll sanction other countries, but not Vladimir Putin and not Russia. Ladies and gentlemen, why is that? Why is that the President of the United States continues to coddle Vladimir Putin and Russia? Why is it that he continues to lie, and maybe he'll give him another 50 days or 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, while Vladimir Putin, the evil, murderous dictator, continues to slay and murder innocent people in Ukraine? But MAGA Republicans will say, oh, you won't find another president that's been tougher on Russia. I think it's to the contrary. At least Joe Biden called Putin what he is, a dictator, an evil one at that. And it's sick and it's disgusting. And all Donald Trump said on Truth Social is that he's not happy. That's all he said. And this tweet came out not that long ago. But I'll tell you, he said the other day he wasn't happy. He said the other day he was upset at Vladimir Putin. But you see, he doesn't hold him accountable for anything. Just like MAGA Republicans don't hold Donald Trump accountable for anything. He doesn't hold himself accountable for anything. And I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, while all this stuff is going on, and I could have told you this was going to happen, Putin is playing Donald Trump like a fiddle. The Kremlin laugh at Donald Trump and the empty threats of sanctions because we knew it wasn't going to happen. But MAGA Republicans are embarrassing themselves once again, ladies and gentlemen, on all the national networks, making excuses for their horrible, big and beautiful bill. This is an unbelievable exchange that I do want to play for you, because Representative Mike Lawler has been making excuse after excuse after excuse when it comes to Medicaid, and he makes the case that Republicans aren't cutting Medicaid, which we know they are. We know at least 15 million Americans are going to be without Medicaid. But Joe Scarborough gave it to him. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Joe Scarborough. I never have been. I think he's phony. I think he's two-faced. I remember that trip he took with Mika Brzezinski to Mar-a-Lago to try to get him on his show and play nice with MAGA. I don't like Joe Scarborough. I lost a lot of respect for him. But there are times where he holds these politicians' feet to the fire, and I think this is one of those examples. So Scarborough is talking to Lawler about the fact that these hospitals, many of them around the country, are claiming that they're going to have to foot the bill when all these people lose their Medicaid coverage. And listen to Lawler squirm in his chair and lie, and Joe Scarborough does not let him get off the hook. It's really a mesmerizing exchange of truth and fiction, and this is where many in the MAGA Republican Party are at. They just won't admit the fact that millions of Americans are going to lose their health care coverage. Listen to this.
These are common sense reforms. I have no problem defending it and articulating it.
Well, respectfully, Mike, the Congressional Budget Office, which obviously is a part of the institution where you serve, says that there's going to be about $900 billion to $1 trillion in Medicaid cuts. If you look at the hospitals in your own district, Montefiore Nyack Hospital is already saying, because of that vote, because of these cuts, they're going to have to cut back services. They're going to have to cut staff. They're going to have to cut care. Same thing with Westchester Hospital. Hospitals across your district are going to have to cut services and care and staff members and budgets because of your vote and because of this bill that passes. That's what they're saying. It's not some left-wing focus group or some. Well, I'm just telling you what they've said, so
what they're parroting is the same talking points being put out by the state and by the hospital
parroting. You know their business better than you know their business better than they know their business. Congressman, you can keep talking if you want to, but are you saying that they know their business, doctors' business, hospital administrators' business better than they know their own business? Is that what you're telling us here?
No, Joe. If you'd stop putting words in my mouth and let me answer the question. Number one,
you said they were parroting. You said that actually they were having the words put into their mouth. You said they were parroting other people's words.
Go look what they've actually put out, and it's all the same. It's all the same points that the Greater New York Hospital Association and that the state of New York are parroting.
Lawler is lying to you, and he is an absolute right-wing buffoon. Joe Scarborough was making the point, and I agree with Joe on this one, where you have these administrators and these hospitals and these spokespeople that work in these hospitals that are saying they're going to have to make all these cuts because of this big and beautiful bill and how it's going to affect the entire industry and their hospitals. They've made those statements publicly, and Lawler says they're parroting. They're just taking those statements from other people, which, by the way, he has no evidence that that's true, and it's not. These are his own constituents. These are hospitals in his district. These are his people, many of his constituents that are going to be losing their health care coverage. Hospitals around the country that are going to be making cuts, and they are in a lot of trouble. And MAGA Republicans, like Lawler, are lying to your face. They're simply lying to your face. They're either telling you that they're not actually cutting Medicaid, or they're telling you this is going to be benefiting those on Medicaid. It's going to make it stronger. I've heard that argument, which is absolutely insane. I've heard them make statements like this big and beautiful bill is going to cut taxes for the middle class and the poor, when we all know it's the opposite of that. These are some of the biggest tax breaks at the top 1% will ever receive in the history of this country. We know that somewhere around 15 to 17 million people are going to lose their Medicaid. We know that billions and billions of dollars they are gutting when it comes to food stamps, while they put gold all over the White House. But that's okay. We can spend millions of dollars of taxpayer funds to gold up the White House, but we want to take money away from those that are struggling, that are living paycheck to paycheck, people that need food assistance, people that need Medicaid. Many of those people are working, by the way. There's a lot of people on Medicaid that are working that cannot afford health insurance. But Lawler wants to make it sound like Republicans voted for this big and beautiful bill to somehow make things better for those that are on Medicaid. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The lies are just endless with these MAGA Republicans. They're endless. Let's be very clear on this. This is not a partisan opinion. This is fact. The big and beautiful bill overwhelmingly helps the ultra-rich billionaires in this country. The everyday working, hard family with an average household income will suffer. Some of these people are on Medicaid because they qualify for it, and they will lose that health care coverage. These aren't just people that aren't working that are capable of working. When Republicans say that, it's a lie. There are people right now that are working that are on Medicaid that are going to lose their health care coverage. The hospitals are going to have to make dramatic cuts. It's going to gut the healthcare industry in this country. And MAGA Republicans continue to lie to you. And then when you lose your Medicaid, you're going to say, oh, wow, how did this happen? Well, guess what? We told you so. We tried to warn you. And then you have people like Scott Jennings on CNN, who I do talk about from time to time because he is just an absolute right-wing clown. And I shared this story with all of you guys yesterday. Dean Cain, I really haven't heard his name since the mid-90s. And Dean Cain somehow puts out a statement touting the fact that he's going to be an ICE agent, as if anybody cares, number one. Number two, it's dangerous. And number three, morons like Scott Jennings are trying to make the argument, I'm not making this up because I'm going to play it for you, that somehow Dean Cain publicly speaking out, touting that he's going to be an ICE agent, somehow will help other people get recruited to ICE. He's actually trying to make that argument. Have a listen to this.
New ICE
in the
agents.
Superman community,
and so
I mean that's Dean.
But I'm just telling you, like,
he's effectively going to be an honorary sheriff.
But having someone like that out touting it, talking about, hey, this is a thing you can do for your government. This is public service. It's going to help them recruit, and they have a bunch of people to recruit.
Scott, yeah. It's not 95. Nobody gives a Sam Hell what Dean Cain does.
You may not, but in the conservative, you don't, but in the conservative community,
Dean ain't worked in a while. Dean needs the 50,000. That's what got Dean off the couch. Dean ain't worked in a while. Dean gonna take that money and buy some crypto with it. Dean needs the 50. That's what Dean is on.
He's right about that. I want you to think about this for a second. Scott Jennings is trying to make the argument, and listen, Jennings is a complete clown, but he's trying to make the argument that Dean Cain somehow touting the fact that he's going to be an ICE agent it's a public service. So help me understand this, PTL Nation. Is it a public service when you don't identify yourself as an ICE agent and you cover your face and you arrest individuals in this country that have been here for decades, walking outside of a courtroom trying to do it the right way? Is that providing a public service? Separating families from one another? Many of these people, nonviolent criminals that have been in this country for decades. Is that providing a public service? Or are we going back to Nazi Germany? Because that is not the country that I want to live in. And somehow, idiots like Scott Jennings on CNN want to make it sound like this is some sort of luxury. That this is a good thing for the country. It's a public service to have people across the country with no law enforcement experience at all, because to my knowledge, Dean Cain doesn't have any, to say that I'm going to be an ICE agent because I want to deport those bad illegals. I want you guys to think about that. Is that providing a public service? Is it? Is that the country that you want to live in? I'm not just talking to Democrats here. I'm talking to MAGA supporters. Is this the country that you want to live in? Is this the country that you want? Because Scott Jennings and many of the MAGA Republicans are salivating over this, seeing all these brown people, all these images of all these brown people being separated from their families, so many of them nonviolent criminals. They're being arrested outside of courtrooms in front of a Home Depot. Is that what you want to see? Do you think that's providing a public service? Because that's the verbiage that Scott Jennings used on CNN yesterday. He said it's a public service. You tell me, is that a public service? Is it? Is that providing a public service? I feel for all these families. And I'm amazed to see so many MAGA Republicans out there continuing to gloat and celebrate the fact that so many of these families are getting stripped of their loved ones, some being, sent to, the Gator prison, others being sent to an El Salvador prison and prisons, high maximum security prisons across the country. But somehow, Scott Jennings wants to lead us to believe that this is a public service, that somehow this is good for the country, that somehow Dean Cain saying that he's going to become an ICE agent is going to help recruit others. Is this a joke? Is this a sick joke? And it gets worse. I mean, Representative Greg Stubb, another complete right-wing MAGA idiot, doesn't seem to understand the economic strain that this is going to have on the country. Example, you're going to deport 4% of the population. If we're at full employment, and if that's the argument, then the economy is going to struggle and lag because of it. But listen to this idiot's logic. When we talk about all the illegals that are getting deported and how he says it's going to help us and all these Americans in this country are going to take the jobs that they had. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. Listen to this.
Do you want to see the president create carve-outs for illegal migrants who have been here for years working on farms or in construction? Do you support that?
I don't believe if you entered our country illegally, that is a crime. You should be held accountable for that. Our current laws require that individual to go back to their home country and apply for citizenship just like everybody else. That's the way it should be done. We are one of the most liberal countries in the world, allowing migration into our country, over 1 million a year that legally come into our country. Those that come here illegally should not be afforded the opportunity to stay in our country.
Even though we've seen farms and construction companies just not having enough workers to get their business going.
Well, and if you look at the numbers, you're seeing more and more citizens of our country come into the labor market and come into the employment market. So there's to be said that you have illegals that are taking spots for American citizens to work and do the things that they want to do. So I think you will see that continue as more and more illegals are deported from our nation. It'll give the opportunity for more citizens of our country to take these jobs.
Absolutely and positively ridiculous. Let me just give this moron some facts here. First of all, we are near full employment. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that there's at least 7.5 million undocumented workers. There are not 7.5 million Americans that are ready and willing and able to do those jobs in those positions. What does that mean? It means many of those positions will become unfilled. In turn, that means businesses will be closing down. Clearly, the economy will be shrinking. And Americans will be losing their jobs. But you speak truth to these MAGA morons, they literally have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. This guy, Greg Stubb, thinks that this is a good thing when we're at near full employment. It's not. And mark my words, the next jobs report's going to be worse. It's going to continue to get worse. And we just had the worst jobs report in literally 5 years. The last time we had this poor of a jobs report, December of 2020, the last month of Donald Trump's first administration. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the lies you're hearing from the far right. Mike Lawler appears on Joe Scarborough's show, and Mike Lawler is lying to your face, lying on MSNBC, lying to the American people, lying to his own constituents, saying that Republicans didn't actually cut Medicaid. Then what would you call 15 million Americans that are going to lose their health care coverage? What do you call that? And hospitals around the country that are going to have to make cuts. They've already made public statements, including those that are in his own district. You have Scott Jennings bragging about Dean Cain, who I haven't heard since the mid-90s, saying he's going to join ICE and this is going to be a great public service to tackle people and arrest people, nonviolent criminals, many of them outside of courtrooms, trying to do it the right way. And Greg Staub on national television, while we're near full employment and 7.5 million undocumented workers that are going to be deported, with 7.5 million Americans nowhere near that number that are willing and able to do those jobs. This is not brain surgery that we're talking about here. What they are doing is they are going to destroy this country if they haven't already. There are so many in this country that cannot afford to put food on the table. What are Republicans doing? Are they helping them? No, they're taking their food stamps away. There are so many Americans out there, many of whom that are working, by the way. 30% of them aren't even offered health care coverage, and half of them can't even afford it. What are MAGA Republicans doing? Taking away their Medicaid. Over 15 million people. And somehow we're led to believe that this is a good thing for Medicaid. Somehow we're led to believe people like Mike Lawler telling us that they're not actually cutting Medicaid. It's a bald-faced lie. It is a bald-faced lie. This is the reality of the situation, ladies and gentlemen. This big, beautiful bill only caters to the rich. It's what Republicans have been doing for decades. Strip away government programs for those that are struggling, that are living paycheck to paycheck. Do not help the poor. As they would call it, government handouts. Meanwhile, the richest people in this country are getting the biggest tax breaks, or if you want to call them tax loopholes, whatever you want to call them. Donald Trump has taken advantage of that his entire life. Think about that for a minute. They're not taxing the rich. They're giving the richest people the tax breaks, while those that can't even afford to put food on the table, they can't even afford health care for themselves or their children, are the ones that are going to be stripped of those programs. What is going to happen? A lot of those people are going to lose their lives. And I wish I could paint a better picture for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't. There's a lot of people that are going to get more sick. There's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to afford to buy the prescription drugs that they need to survive. There's a lot of people that are going to be going to the emergency rooms while these hospitals are going to be making cuts. This is a disaster, and it's going to get worse. I wish I had better news for you, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't. All right, I got some breaking news for you. We'll have to ask him about this. The 47th President of the United States is going to be joining us here for a few minutes in an exclusive interview. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Donald J. Trump's going to be joining us next. I will ask him about this big and beautiful bill, and I know he's got a lot of other things he wants to talk about as well. The 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, will be joining us next. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Very busy news day. As I said, I don't know. It appears as though Vladimir Putin is calling Donald Trump's bluff. So I said, why don't we just get this guy on the line and hear from him personally? So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, joining us right now on the line. Mr. President, thank you so much for being here. So nice of you.
What a week, Brian. What a week. Has this been incredible? I was on the roof. Did you see me on the roof?
I did. Why did you go on the roof, by the way?
Because that's what builders do. I'm a builder, Brian. Did you know that? I'm a builder, and builders go on the roof. We like to survey. And I was surveying where this beautiful ballroom is going to go. 90,000 square feet. Everything will be gold. The bathrooms will be gold. The ceiling panels, the lighting. It's just going to be gold. It's just going to be truly, truly amazing.
But Mr.
And I don't want your left-wing liberal listeners, oh, what a waste of money. Oh, what a waste. I'm paying for all of it, and my supporters. I'm paying all of it. Just like I don't accept my $400,000 a year from the terrible pay for being president. I made $3 billion in crypto. I don't need a stupid $400,000. I don't need it.
But Mr. President, there's a lot of people that are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. You're taking food stamps away and Medicaid. Why do you care so much about the White House being filled with gold? Like, I don't understand. Why?
We are the greatest country in the world, and honestly, the place is a dump. It's an absolute dump. And where am I supposed to have my balls? Where am I supposed to put my balls? I want to have a lot of balls, and I have no place for my balls. So now we're going to have a place for my balls. That's why they call it ballroom. Ballroom. I'm making sure there's ballroom.
I was gonna say Stormy Daniels, but that would be a very inappropriate joke, Mr. President.
Very inappropriate. Yeah. She's horse-faced and she's long gone. You notice that? You haven't heard from her in a while. And I hear her movies are not doing well.
That I don't know.
Well, they have AI. They have AI porn now.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was unaware.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. President, I got to ask you about Vladimir Putin, because people are calling you Taco Trump once again today, because this is the ceasefire day, and it appears
this is a ceasefire day.
Well, yeah.
I wrote him a strongly worded letter, and if he didn't read it, then he didn't read it. What am I supposed to do? Force him to read? Hooked on phonics? Come on. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Why are you so nice to Vladimir Putin, though? I don't know. How much time why are you going to give him another 50 days? Like, I don't understand, Mr. President. Help us understand.
Well, he's very busy. This is a tough thing. He's got a war going on. It's taking up a lot of his time.
But don't you want the war to end?
I said, Vlad, you got to end this thing. And then we got a bad line. There's because the phone lines aren't as good as they used to. And you know what's amazing about these iPhones? We had Tim Cook in the office yesterday. I call him Tim Apple. He gave me a gold bar, 24-karat gold bar. And the most amazing thing is iPhones do everything except make a decent phone call. It's sad. It's
that
really,
is sad.
Really sad.
Mr. President, I'm sorry I have to bring this up. I don't want to upset you on a Friday, but apparently you're in the Epstein files, and there's
no.
You're not in the Epstein files?
I don't know about that. Do we have another question? Do you want to talk about Washington, D.C.? The crime is out of control, Brian. Out of control.
Why do you keep changing the subject?
I'm in the White House right now. Hold on. I'm in the White House right now. I'm watching people being murdered. This has to stop. We're so lucky we have Janine Pirro. Janine, she's going to take over because this town is falling apart. It's falling apart.
I thought she had a drinking. Does she have a drinking problem? I heard she has a drinking problem.
I know. I don't drink. So I wouldn't know. I think drinking people. I think her and Pete Hegseth should get together, but I don't think so. But we're arresting the Democrats. No one cares about Epstein. That's old news.
Well, then why did you?
It's terrible on Nantucket. They won't give what's his face a pierogi. A pierogi. Do you believe this?
I've heard that, but
These
why?
Lesbian Democrats. They wouldn't sell her a pierogi.
Oh,
did you believe this?
That's very unfortunate.
Listen. He said he got 14 massages with his clothes on. That works for me. That works for me.
Mr. President, I have to ask you this question flat out. Okay, was there sex trafficking going on at Mar-a-Lago?
Not that I know of. There was Epstein was poaching my 14-year-old employees. That's what he was doing. I wouldn't call that sex trafficking.
What would you
A
call
lot
it?
of people say, I would say that's hiring and firing. That's just bad business. That's just bad business.
Wow. All right.
You know?
Well, why did you send
You know,
Max?
honestly, Brian, I have to tell you something. The whole fact that I had 14-year-olds working in the spa, no one has questioned that, which I think is tremendous. Not even you. You didn't even bring it up. So
Well, I mean, that is, I would,
standing with most Americans.
yeah, I thought that was illegal to have a 14-year-old working anywhere,
It's
let alone.
Florida. You can be 12.
Oh, really?
You know, you can be 12.
I was unaware of that.
Oh, yeah. They have the kids working in the fields now, you know.
12-year-olds.
It's incredible. That's why I love Florida. That's why I love Florida. And that's why we're moving the White House to Florida.
Oh, wow. What about this ballroom? I know you're very happy about this new ballroom.
Oh, I'm building. It's going to be mobile. It's going to be mobile. We're going to put it on wheels. We're
A
gonna
mobile
drive it down
ballroom.
95. Mobile ballroom.
Wow, that is incredible.
I do love Florida. It's my chosen home state.
Yeah.
And as we know, a Muslim, communist, left-wing, socialist, Marxist is probably, unfortunately, going to be the mayor of New York. And I have to step in. I have to intercede. Because we can't have that. We can't have a Muslim as mayor. I mean, look at England. Like, most of the mayors in the whole country are Muslim. Did you know that? Did you know that?
No,
the mayor of London is a Muslim. Did you know that?
What is your problem with
now
Muslims?
You got to put a mosque. Yeah, well, you got to put a mosque on every corner, and they have Sharia law. So and those people are crazy.
Wow.
Those people, you think MAGA's crazy. Those Muslims are nuts. They're nuts. They'll chop your hand off and gouge your eye out.
Yeah, well, that's not good. If you're just joining us, the 47th and 45th president of the United States.
President for life. I'm not leaving.
President for
leaving.
life. So you are going to run
for life.
You're not going to leave the White House?
I don't even. You think I need to run? I've taken over the Federal Election Commission. I have control of every single election commissioner in every Republican state. Listen, you know what I find interesting? No one even questions the fact I won all 6 swing states. I mean, I think that's amazing. Everything's working to plan, Brian. Everything's working to plan. We've got what's his name on Colbert? He's off. Kimmel's next. Howard's leaving.
Can I ask you about that? Because I grew up a huge Howard, Mr. President. I grew up a huge Howard Stern fan.
Look, I liked him too. But go woke, go broke. He's only making $100 million a year.
That's it.
How's sad?
That is
he's
really
woke.
sad.
He's only making $100 million.
Yeah.
He can be making $125 million, but he's woke.
Well, you've called Colbert. You've called Colbert a talentless buffoon. You've called him talentless.
Oh no, I said a talentless hack.
A hack. Why would you say that? He had really good ratings, Mr. President.
Excuse me. He lost $40-50 million. You know what I mean?
He did.
And I know what you're going to say, but sir, you lost $12 billion. But it's
true.
different. It's different.
How is it different? How?
Because I'm me. Don't ever say. Don't quote me. Don't ever say anything I did unless it was the last 15 minutes.
All right. Well, Mr. President, I have to ask you one more serious question here because a lot of people are wondering why Maxwell was transferred to a low minimum security prison. She's one of the biggest sex traffickers on the planet. Why did you have your former criminal attorney, Blanche, go and see her? And are you guys really? You didn't know that. You didn't know that. Okay. Why are you guys doing that?
By the way, you can move prisoners. That happens all the time. You can move prisoners. That happens all the time. I have nothing to do with this. I didn't hear anything. You know what? I'm kind of like Schultz on this term. Remember Schultz from Hogan's Heroes?
I do. Yeah.
I know nothing. I don't want to see anything. If somebody does something, I say, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. But, Ghislaine's a nice lady, and I think she's really getting railroaded.
Nice lady.
Nice lady. Did you see she was at my wedding? She was at Eric's bar mitzvah, and we're not even Jewish, which is incredible. She's been at a lot of events, and I think she was framed.
A nice lady. So you think
does not like her?
So you think it was rigged?
I wish her well. I wish her well.
You wish her well.
I do.
Okay.
Who wants to be in a prison cell? Now she's in a camp. She'll probably get her hairstyle too, because I hear they have a hairdresser at this particular camp.
What are your plans this weekend, Mr. President? You going to be playing golf at Mar-a-Lago? What do you got going on?
Of course.
Yeah.
It takes, I think it's so interesting because I fly down every weekend. I burn $5 million. I bring about 100 people. No one says a word. No one says a word. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's good. What did Mel Brooks say? It's good to be the king.
Yeah.
It's good to be the king.
But Mr. President, I've seen your caddies cheat for you on the golf course. Care to explain?
No. Why would I explain that? They're the best caddies in the business. You see where they set those balls? Right outside of the rough, right on the perfect alignment on the tee. These guys know that course like the back of their head. What am I gonna do? Have John Jr. drop the ball like a nitwit? I'm gonna whack him over the head with my club.
But he's your son, Mr. President. Why would you talk like that about your son?
Oh, the kids love that stuff. Did you see Happy Gilmore too?
I did.
This is what the kids love. When the fathers talk about the kids like, well, they are both morons.
One more question.
It's okay, because Don Jr. is going to be president. I want to make that very clear.
Oh boy, some of my listeners won't like that. You're saying your son's going to be the next president. Oh boy.
He is going to be the next president because, listen, I have a plan. I'm going to become president. He'll be vice president. If something happens to me, probably won't. My father lived to be in history. But then he'll move into the presidency. J.D. Vance will be back as VP. It'll be tremendous. You'll get two for the price of one.
Final question, Mr. President, on a lighthearted note, maybe. Dean Cain.
I like lighthearted.
Yeah.
Dean Cain.
Yeah, he said he's going to be an ICE now. He wants to be an ICE agent. What are your thoughts on Dean Cain?
Well, if you look at a lot of the ICE agents, they're big, bulky, overweight, out of shape guys. So he's perfect for it.
Fair enough. Well, Mr. President, I really do appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure when you take the time to join us. I hope you have a lovely weekend. If you could put your friend John Domenico on the line, I would greatly appreciate that.
Okay, John, come on over here. Hey, Brian.
Hey, John, what's going on? You're on fire today, man. You're on fire.
Oh my God, there's just so much. I think we should do these every other day. I can't even keep up.
It's unbelievable.
The FBI arresting Democrats, Cash Patel wearing a MAGA hat. I mean, what a nitwit.
I have to, if it's okay with you, because I laughed so hard the other day, because I texted you the other day and I said, hey, John, I'd love to have you back on the show. And John texted me back and he said, I'm very busy building a ballroom and making billions from crypto, but I'll try to squeeze you in. And I was having dinner with like 6 or 7 of my friends when I texted you, and I just burst into laughter. And they're like, what's so funny? And then I read your text and everybody was laughing, man. You're just one of the funniest guys I know. That's just the bottom line.
Thank you so much. It's a plethora. It's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to material about
You are the best Trump supporter on the planet. Can you please give out that information?
I love the Kinko charts. Did you see the Kinko charts?
I did.
Even more, but they all point up. They all point up.
Yeah, that chart. Johnny didn't even explain what the chart was. He didn't even explain.
I don't have to. It just goes up. That's all we need to know.
It just goes up. Oh my God! It's like his charts are all on blue pills. Anyway, John, give out that information. By the way, on how people can follow you on socials. There's a reason why you have such a huge following, because you're so good at what you do. Give out that information.
Thank you.
How can people follow you and watch your stuff?
You can it's really easy. Just put in the Johnny D Show. And that comes up everywhere, Instagram, TikTok. You'll see me on TikTok. I have 5.8 million followers. You'll see all the Trump material. You'll see me on YouTube. It'll be the Johnny D Show 1, but everything else is the Johnny D Show.
John, I love you, brother. I hope you have a fantastic
I love you
weekend.
too, man. Keep up your great work. I know that you're fighting the good fight and enlightening people, which I think is amazing.
Well, that means a lot. And this day and age, we need people to laugh, and certainly my listeners love you. So, and half of them think that it was really Donald Trump. So that's how good you are. So, and John, I love you, pal. Have a great weekend. Okay, thanks for coming on.
All right, brother.
Take care.
See you, man. Bye.
That is the very talented and funny comedian and impersonator, John Domenico. We put his information there on the bottom of the screen if you want to follow him. He is the best in the business, man. Not only does he do a spot-on impersonation of Donald Trump, but he's also extremely funny. So you got to follow his stuff. He is absolutely great. The Johnny D Show. Please check him out. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's a Friday. We got to have a little bit of fun, right? We got a lot of serious topics that we've been discussing, and I know it's hard to make a transition I know MAGA Republicans don't like that word transition, but it's hard to make a transition from that. But we love Johnny D, and we appreciate him coming on, and it's always fun having him on the show. Spot on Donald Trump impersonation. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I do want to open up the phone lines now. Nicole Mitchell is going to be joining us in hour number 2. But on a serious note, this is what I meant about that transition. On a serious note, Donald Trump said that today was the final day for Vladimir Putin to put together a ceasefire with Ukraine. Well, turns out that Vladimir Putin called his bluff, and there were more airstrikes overnight, more innocent people getting seriously injured and losing their lives. And what has Donald Trump done about it? Literally nothing. Nothing. So we are talking about that. Taco Trump at it again today on a Friday. So not only we have Taco Trump at it again, but you got Scott Jennings touting Dean Cain for saying he wants to be in ICE. And you have more MAGA Republicans that are saying they're not cutting Medicaid. In fact, they're adding more to Medicaid. They're complete liars. So the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. Yes, Taco Trump at it again, ladies and gentlemen, on a Friday. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go first to Ian. Ian is first up on PTL. Hi, Ian. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Magna, Utah.
Thank you for calling in, Ian. What's on your mind today?
Oh, what's on my mind today is, this is my second time actually making through to call in. And I bought one of your shirts. I bought "Don't Be a Right-Wing Buffoon."
Oh, I appreciate that.
And my wife fucking hates it.
Okay, watch your language, though. We can't say the F word, so watch your language.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So you're saying you bought one of my shirts and your wife hates it. Why does she hate it?
Because she doesn't pay attention to what's really going on with politics, and she doesn't want to. And I'm being told by my mother-in-law when I go over there, don't bring up politics, because they got lots of right-wingers on my in-laws side.
So Ian, can I ask you, you're obviously an anti-Trumper like I am, which I can appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
You're saying that you're married. How long have you been married for, if you don't mind me asking?
12 years.
You don't even remember. That's
I haven't. No. I had to think about my son's age. He was a year old when we got married.
Okay, so you've been
married April 1st.
Gotcha. So 12 years. What is it like to be married to somebody and sleep in the same bed with them, and to love somebody and be with somebody that is on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes politically? I mean, is that difficult? How does that work for you?
I have to hide my political stuff. Like when you want to bring out stuff, she talked about going to because she's about ready to hook up with our German friends, because we all got German heritage, but her mom's a straight up German immigrant here.
Okay.
And they've got company coming from Germany arriving tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be respectful here, Ian, but I want you to do me a favor. Tell me if this is okay.
All right.
And I say this with respect. I'm sure your wife is a very nice lady, or you wouldn't have proposed to her, and you wouldn't have been with her for 12 years. So I'm sure she has a lot of great qualities. However, she's just sounds like she's very confused politically. So here's what I want you to do for me, and tell me if this is okay. What I want you to do is I want you to wear my shirt that says "Don't be a right-wing buffoon," and she'll probably make a comment and then respond by saying, "Brian says, kiss my ass." Can you do that for me?
The next time I bust it out, I will. You got to make sure I bust it out when my in-laws are around.
Say, Brian says, kiss my ass and take off your Donald Trump knee pads. That's my request, Ian.
Oh, she doesn't wear Donald Trump knee pads, though. She just refuses to accept facts and doesn't want to talk about politics.
I understand
at all.
I understand. Okay, well, tell her this then in a more respectful way. Kiss my ass, and the earth is not flat. That'll get her. Can you do that for me, Ian? And then I'm serious. And then I want you to call back, and I want you to give me an update.
You know what? I'm gonna travel to Vegas, and I'm gonna make sure when I go to Vegas, that I know I'm gonna meet you up at gosh damn it, where that steak stayed the same price.
Jackson's.
Jackson, yeah, Jackson's Bar and Grill.
We might have to do that.
You know what?
Bring your wife.
I'll have to figure that out. But I'm only one person here making a living, and I work at UPS.
I hear you. Well, I can appreciate that. You're a hardworking
So I'm
guy.
a union guy, and I think everybody deserves a union in this
Well,
country.
when you're ever in Vegas, my friend, bring your wife, hit me up, shoot me an email, and I'll gladly meet you and your wife for a drink, and we could have a good time and laugh about this phone call because it's been a funny one. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate you. I'm going to the YouTube Super Chat because, as I mentioned to all of you, it's a great way for you guys to support the show, and your questions and comments will be heard. Dying Breed said Trump has always been Putin's lapdog. Helsinki 2018 clearly showed how weak Trump is when he is face-to-face to Putin. Thank you, Dying Breed, for your support of the show. And as I mentioned, anybody can go on the YouTube Super Chat, and your questions and comments will be heard. So please, with your donations, also you could go to pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live. Again, where your questions and comments can be heard. I think we have more in the YouTube Super Chat that I will get to in a moment, but I want to get back to the phone calls. And Britt Zerker says, Handman Dean Cain will get hurt tackling his first immigrant and go on paid disability by the taxpayer. That wouldn't surprise me, actually. I haven't heard anything from Dean Cain in like 25 years. So how old is Dean Cain now, by the way? He's got to be up there. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Everett. Everett is next up on PTL. Hey, Everett, what's going on?
Man, second time caller, Brian. What's happening with you?
How you doing, Everett? What's on your mind?
Man, I wanted to tune in to, first off, remember when Trump was talking about that red line, when Obama was making them red lines, and they kept stepping over it? Come on, man. You see what Putin doing to that boy?
Yeah.
He's killing Trump.
I agree with you, Everett. And what's really sad about this situation is that more innocent people are dying, innocent people on both sides, Russia and Ukraine. And Vladimir Putin is a psychopath. He's an evil, murderous dictator. I've been saying that since day one. And yet Donald Trump made a promise to the American people that this war would be over on day one. And now he just continues to make excuses. And here's Taco. This is why we call him Taco Trump, because he said running for office that this would be over on day one, and then another ceasefire. The deadline was today. Crickets from MAGA. Nothing.
At the end of the day, he said, I'm gonna let him choose what he want to do. It's up to him.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. It is comical. And he treats our own politicians in the United States of America that he doesn't like worse than he treats an evil, murderous dictator in Vladimir Putin. It's sick.
That's because Putin got pictures of him and the goat going hard.
I got to tell you, man, Putin's got to have something on him. I mean, I don't understand why. But you know what? I think Donald Trump has always admired people. I think he admires Adolf Hitler. He certainly admires Kim Jong-un. He certainly admires Vladimir Putin. Why does he admire all these evil dictators? Why? Because I think he wants to be one himself. Viktor Orban is another one. Why does he kiss their ass so much? Why?
He wants to beat them. But what I really called about was now I'm a truck driver now, but I was in federal prison. That's BOP. I was in Lompoc, California.
Okay.
I made it to the camp.
Yep.
But I had camp points, and they put what is called a management verbal on me to put me behind the gate. I had to work my way down on a white collar crime. Ain't no way in the world that lady should be a child molester, what we call chomos,
right?
And have over 10 years. You can't get to a camp and have over 10 years.
I got to ask you, I want to pick your brain on this. And if I'm asking you too much personal, there's a reason why I'm asking this, because I agree with you. But if you don't mind, what was the crime that you were guilty of and how much time did you spend behind bars?
I got sentenced to 65 months for bank fraud.
Okay. So you're right. It's a white collar crime.
And I did 41 months of that.
Byron Donalds did the same thing, and he didn't spend one day behind bars. But here you are, a guy that spent 4 or 5 years, sentenced to 4 or 5 years behind bars. And as you mentioned, Maxwell, who is a convicted sex trafficker, one of the biggest sex traffickers in the world. And Donald Trump and his people are giving her preferential treatment. They sent her to basically a Club Med. And yes, I do believe.
No way you can. Yeah. It's no way you can get to. It's no way you can get to the camp with those kind of points.
Right.
You can't. If you got over 10 years, they won't even think about you.
Yeah.
I had 65 months and couldn't get to the camp till I went to what's called DAP program. That's a drug program.
And are you a
And
father?
you do
If you,
9
don't,
months.
if you don't mind me asking, sir, are you a father?
Oh yeah, proud father of 4 kids.
That's
proud
great.
father.
I'm happy
Oh,
to
I
hear
learned
that.
my lesson. Trust me.
No, I
got
know
my
that.
CDL
But I'm
in the
asking
Fed.
you this for a reason, because I'm sure you have four beautiful kids, and I'm glad you're out and you're back at it, being a dad and all, and working, which I appreciate. How does that make you feel to know that a sex trafficker, you have 4 kids, children were raped and molested and God knows what else on Epstein Island, and if she gets a
she's
pardon,
right by Texas, and she's right by Texas A&M.
yeah,
with the gates open.
Yeah.
They're right down the street from Texas A&M, and the Texas A&M students come in there to train dogs.
It's so sickening, man. Well, listen,
she's free.
It's sick,
to train them.
I'm glad that there are people like you out there. We are all not perfect, but I'm glad that you're doing better, and you're a proud father of 4 kids, and you're working. And nobody is perfect in this country, but you took accountability for what you did. Donald Trump has never taken accountability for anything he's ever done in his life. Oh yeah, by the way, he's a 34 count felon. I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you very much, and I'm glad you're doing well now, and I'm glad you're a member of society that's working. I believe you said you work for UPS, which I think is great. And yeah, people like you that served your time, that were held to account. Donald Trump's never been held to account for anything, and I appreciate your honesty, and I really do. Kevin on the YouTube super chat says, "Hey Brian, just wanted to make sure you got my email with Joe's contact information. Happy Friday, Kevin. I will have my producer take a look at that, and I haven't seen it personally yet, but I will take a look at it myself, and I will get back to you on that. Thank you for the email, Kevin. 702-221-7283, the number to call. One phone line open. Let's go to Andrew. Andrew is next on PTL. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
Good. What's on your mind today?
Well, this whole Putin thing has gotten me back to what I, used to say when I first came on here, when he started floating around the whole war thing with Russia. And here's my prediction, because he does want to be a dictator. He does. And I've studied this guy. It's sickening on how he conned his own father out of his own company.
Mm-hmm.
How he conned his own children to get the billions that he, got. Basically, he's used his own children to get where he's at. It's sickening. And so, anyways, the thing that really, what I'm gonna really pay attention to now is how Putin reacts to Trump. And what I'm thinking is he doesn't want a war with Putin, because this is going to start World War III. If we go to war with Russia, then China's going to get involved. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And we're done. Like we're done, because there's no allies that are ever gonna even want to, help us, because we fucked them.
No, watch your language. Whoa, watch your language. Can't swear.
I'm sorry, but
yep.
I mean, we effed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's sickening, and I'm scared to see where we're headed, and this is, I think, where we're headed. And I don't want to go this route, but I think this is where we're headed.
Well, I agree with you.
The recession, everything.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. I try to prepare people for that every day. I wish I had better news for you, Andrew, but I don't. And I think the problem that we're facing now is it's only been 6 or 7 months. We got another 3.5 years of this. I mean, it'd be one thing if this was the end of his administration. I'd say, wow, he's done a lot of damage, but hopefully we can get a better president in there that can clean up the mess. But we got another 3.5. Imagine where we're going to be 3 years from now, even 6 months from now.
And see, that's the problem that people aren't paying attention to. What Trump is doing is not just damaging this country, he's damaging our reputation to a point to where even if we got a sensible president in power, right?
Yeah.
That knows the game, okay? He's damaged our relationships to a point where they're just like, we're not going to deal with you. Why? So you can get another Trump in there and then we have to do this all over again?
Right.
Like, we're screwed.
We're in a lot of trouble. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. As you know, I always tell it like it is on this show, and this country's in a lot of trouble. We're obviously headed in the wrong direction everywhere, unless you're a billionaire. If you're a billionaire, then you're going to feel pretty good about where you're at. But people in this country, the overwhelming majority of them that are struggling, that are living paycheck to paycheck, the overwhelming majority of people, those people are going to suffer more. And those are the people that I really care about. Annoyed AF says, Brian, please watch the Vice documentary called Trump in Dubai, China in Africa. I love your show. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. I will definitely have to check that out. She went in the YouTube super chat, and you can too, and your questions and comments can be heard. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Gabriel. Gabriel is next up on PTL. Hey, Gabriel.
Hi, Brian. Hi. So I'm a first-time caller, and I've seen you on when you go on to Piers Morgan, and you do a really good job. So keep up the good work,
well, thank
brother.
You.
So the point. So I'm a registered Democrat, and so the topic I want to talk to you is that when Trump bombed Iran a couple weeks ago, I'm under no illusions that when it's going to be idiotic for Iran not to build a nuclear bomb, because that's going to deter the United States and Israel from doing regime change. But
can I ask you? May I ask you? Because I've talked about this with a lot of people. You know, you have Tulsi Gabbard under oath a few months ago that said they had no intel. We had no intel that they were furthering their nuclear capabilities. We've been hearing for literally the last 30 to 40 years that they're building their nuclear facilities and they're enhancing them. But we've been hearing that from the Israeli government, which, by the way, I don't trust. I don't trust Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't trust the Israeli government. We also know that they had a couple days and there were a lot of trucks that were seen leaving that area. Who knows what was in there? So I don't think that the bombing that was done, I don't think it accomplished much of anything. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you touching on another topic. So, what's this saying about next year? What do you say that Iran has? We have a nuclear bomb, and do not mess with us. Well, guess what? Israel and the United States are gonna say, oh, we need to do more military strikes. We need to put boots on the ground. This I know this is just a pause, but this is just the beginning. So we're just repeating the same idiotic mistakes as in the early 2000s. I was born in 1995. I was a little kid when the attack on the World Trade Center, but we're repeating the same kind of idiot mistakes. And in regards to the Democrats in 2028, I'm sorry. Whoever is bear hugging Netanyahu, you're persona non grata. Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu are aligned with the Republicans. Israel has become a really partisan.
Yep, I agree. And as I said, and thank you for the call, Gabriel. Please call back. As I've said on the Piers Morgan show, just because you criticize Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government does not mean you're anti-Semitic. I know I'm not anti-Semitic. But I've been criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu a lot. And I admit, a year or two ago, I was defending Benjamin Netanyahu. Of course, we were all defending Israel after those terrible Hamas attacks. But I am not defending him now. He has committed war crimes. The Israeli government has committed war crimes. And what is going on in Gaza right now is insane. And now Israel's going to be taking over Gaza. Listen, this whole thing is a mess. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Brian. A couple of things. The first thing is, did you read that Trump is going to be hiring 18-year-olds just out of school to become ICE agents? And
Sickening.
He handed out AR-15s.
Sickening.
There's going to be bloodshed across the country.
Can you imagine how dangerous that will get? I mean, I just can't
it's
even imagine.
going to be bloodshed.
Yeah.
Now, for all you listeners out there, you need to go to, after this stream is over, to a podcaster named Raw News and Politics. And the title of the stream is called Israeli Ex-CIA Agent Makes Bombshell Admission. And he comes on the screen. And what's happening during Clinton and Trump is that when Clinton was in power, the Prime Minister, Ehud Barak, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly, Clinton and Arafat came up with a plan to make a two-state solution, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
This is the agent talking. And what killed the deal was Epstein blackmailed Israel and Russia, the United States.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
When Clinton was in.
I've heard that as well.
Did you see the video of the ex-CIA agent?
I did not see the video, but I heard of what you're talking about. And here's my opinion on that. We know who Jeffrey Epstein was. We know the horrible atrocities and the things that he did. I want to see the Epstein files.
Let me make one more point.
And if Bill Clinton is in there, so be it. I don't know if Bill Clinton
But
is
let me make one more point, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And that point is that right now at this time, Trump is blackmailed by Israel and Russia.
Oh, I agree.
Because of what they have on Epstein and Trump.
I agree.
So they're dictating what he does.
Oh, I don't doubt that, Mark, for 1 second. I appreciate the phone call. I hope you have a good weekend. Listen, I don't doubt that. What you're saying could very well be true. But again, here's what we know for sure. This is not up for speculation. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. We've been hearing this for years about all the liberals that are in there and release the Epstein files. J.D. Vance said, let's release the Epstein files. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. Basically, everybody in Donald Trump's administration had been saying for years, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. And now all of a sudden they find out that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files and God knows what he did with Epstein out there on Epstein Island. Now all of a sudden, make it go away. Because these people don't care about children. They don't care about what they claim they care about, which is safety and rule of law. They proved that after January 6th, patriots and hostages. They don't care about children because if they did, they would release the Epstein files, but they won't because they're protecting the orange orangutan adjudicated rapist. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be on the bottom. If you want to be on the program, I should say. Maybe we can put that number on the bottom of the screen. Let's go to Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson is next up on PTL. Hi, Miss Johnson.
Hi, Brian. How are you today?
Hey, doing good. What's on your mind today?
Last week, I saw pictures on Facebook of Donald Trump and a girl sitting on his lap.
Yeah. I can't. I don't know.
You can't talk about it.
No, it's not that I can't talk about it. I've seen. I don't know if that picture is real. If it is real, I don't know who that girl is. But here's what we do. Well, here's what we do know. We know that there are dozens and dozens of pictures. Trump hanging out with not only Maxwell, but of course Jeffrey Epstein. We know that they went to his wedding. We know that they went to Mar-a-Lago. We know that Jeffrey Epstein was taking young girls from Mar-a-Lago. How do we know that? Because Donald Trump even admitted it. I call that sex trafficking. There have been some mysterious deaths with victims. And of course, Epstein. I do not believe Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. I do believe that he was murdered. They have not shown the entire video. 3 minutes is missing. I've had Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, on this show multiple times. In fact, I had him on before anybody else had him on. You know, I had Mark Epstein on this show before CNN, before Fox News, before all these other networks had him. And he was very forthcoming with me. And he said he wouldn't put it past Donald Trump that Trump might have had something to do with his brother's death. He said that on this show.
I've heard him say that on other shows too.
Yeah. So listen, the proof is in the pudding. And you got to look at somebody's background. Look at the way Donald Trump has treated women, young women, his entire life. He's got over 25 women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife in court documents in a deposition. We know that he was found liable for sexual abuse in the E. Jean Carroll case. We know he's never been faithful to one woman his entire life. We know that he sexualized his own daughter, saying that if she wasn't my daughter, I would date her, and that they had sex in common. We also know that Donald Trump self-admittingly went into teenage pageant locker rooms watching young teenage girls undress. This is a very sick man, and I am very comfortable calling him a pedophile because I believe that's what he is. He's a very sick, deranged man for a lot of different reasons. And yes, I do believe he's attracted to young teenage girls. I think that's one of the reasons why him and Epstein were so close, because they had that in common.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I just think it's a shame that he's going to be allowed to sit in that seat. But one thing, I think we can all pray that we can see him get out of that chair and him being arrested. That's what I'm looking forward to see, because I understand once he's no longer the president, he can be arrested on those charges.
I know Jack Smith might have that in his back pocket, my dear, but very, very difficult. Do I hope that happens? Absolutely. Do I hope that eventually the Epstein files are released? Absolutely. I believe the victims deserve justice, but I don't know if we'll ever see that day. We're certainly not going to see it as Donald Trump in the White House as president of the United States, and we're certainly not going to see it for any MAGA Republican that's in there, that's for sure. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's next on PTL. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hi, Brian. I spoke to you yesterday about the COVID vaccine situation, and you began to tell your personal story, which I found very, very moving and powerful. Unfortunately, I was disconnected. But the follow-up question I wanted to ask was, wouldn't you consider this, and I don't know the technical aspects of it, but I began yesterday when I spoke to you by saying I have scientists as friends and in family who tell me that what RFK Jr. is doing with the vaccines is extremely dispiriting and dangerous. Wouldn't it be, and I know this sounds like such a naive question, but isn't this like an issue on a silver platter for the Democrats to actually not wait for anything, but to use right now to alarm the country? Because it's not a matter of whether you want the vaccine or not. What's happening is there's going to be, I think, no vaccine available for anyone who wants to use it. And in the last week, I just found out before, I wasn't going to call today, but I found out in the last week, I found out today that the second person I know that I've been close to has gotten COVID and died. So it's not a question of if or when. It's here, and probably in September, I assume it may very well get worse. So my question is, why are the Democrats not absolutely, but there's no voice. This is such an obvious issue.
Yeah.
Let
me, and thank you for the call. You said a lot there. Let me digest it best I can. I'll speak in obviosities. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is an idiot. He's a bad guy. He's a conspiracy theorist, but he's not just some guy you're talking to at the water cooler. We know the position that he holds in the Trump administration. Very dangerous. As you know, they cut $500 million in research when it comes to these vaccines. Very dangerous. People are going to die because of it. Now, I hope that we don't have to go through what we went through several years ago during that global pandemic where millions of innocent people died here and all over the world. But if it does happen again, we have to have a real leader as president of the United States. As I've said it before and I've said it again, Donald Trump didn't cause COVID, but his response to COVID was an F-. Why? Well, first of all, he downplayed the virus constantly. So many people died because of that. He talked about injecting yourself with disinfectant, just as bad. He turned the COVID press conferences into campaign rallies. And I do believe if Hillary Clinton was president or a Barack Obama was president, I do believe millions of lives would have been saved. But instead, you had MAGA Republicans for years spreading conspiracy theories about the vaccines, spreading conspiracy theories about the virus. I'm going to tell you something. When I was in the ICU, and I told this story yesterday, I was in the ICU for 2 weeks because I had COVID before the vaccines were out. I had some very deep conversations with some of the nurses, some of them who saved my life. And they told me that in the last moments of some of these people's lives, they didn't believe that COVID was real. We're talking minutes before these people passed away. They didn't think that the virus was real. I mean, that tells you something. First of all, it tells you how brainwashed people can get. And here you have these people that are suffering in the hospital that are about to die, and they still don't think the virus is real. These are very, very, very deranged, ill-informed, and brainwashed people. And I feel sorry for their families, but it's like, how do you talk sense into these people. It started with the Trump administration. It started with the right-wing conspiracy theories, and it continues to this very day. Dr. Fauci created the virus. Dr. Fauci is going to go to jail. It's endless conspiracies with these people. They make things up. The whole Sweeney thing is a made-up thing. There's not one elected Democrat in office that has cared about these Sweeney jeans ads. It's a completely fabricated thing that was made up by MAGA Republicans because they don't want to talk about what's really going on in this country. What's really going on in this country? People losing their health care coverage, people losing their food stamps, people losing their jobs, people that can't find work. This country is suffering. And it's why his approval rating is so low. And it shows to show you what a bunch of morons Republicans are, because his approval rating among Republicans is very high. His approval rating as a whole, very low. Because Republicans don't care the damage that he is doing to this country. All they care about is that he has an R next to his name. That's how complicit these Republicans are. He has hijacked the entire Republican Party. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to David. David is next up on PTL. Hello, David.
Hey, Brian. I know you disagree with Trump and what he's doing with, Russia and Ukraine, but what do you think the solution actually is? How do you actually end this war? If you could, wave a magic wand.
Well, first of all, you have to punish the people that are responsible for this. And to my knowledge, David, you could tell me if you disagree. There has been no accountability for Vladimir Putin. To end a war, you have to find out, number one, and admit how it started. Donald Trump, for a very long time now, he blamed Ukraine. He called Zelensky a dictator. So you're not going to end a war by being complicit. It's very simple. You need a leader that's going to say, Vladimir Putin is the guy that started this, and now he has to end it, and you have to hold him accountable. Example, Donald Trump, I'm going to give him 50 days. I'm going to give him this amount of time. I'm going to give him that amount of time. Well, guess what? Today was supposed to be the deadline for the ceasefire. What has Donald Trump done? Has he held Putin accountable? Any sanctions? The answer is no. So it starts with, don't be a coward, which clearly Donald Trump is. It's why we call him Taco Trump, and hold the enemy accountable. The enemy being Putin.
What do you mean by hold accountable? Could you get specific on what that means?
Well, let's start with some sanctions. Let's start with that. Let's start.
Well, Biden held sanctions, and it didn't. And he implied they would end the war because they'd cripple Russia's economy, and that was all the way back in 2022.
I understand.
And it didn't work.
I understand that, but I'm saying Vladimir Putin is playing him like a fiddle. At least Joe Biden tried to do something. Trump has done nothing other than attack Ukraine. Joe Biden didn't say Ukraine started the war. Joe Biden called Vladimir Putin what he is, which is a dictator. I never said the guy who you voted for is the guy that said he would end the war in 24 hours. I never said Joe Biden would end the war. This is a very difficult and complex situation. You don't just snap a finger, or as Donald Trump said, all I have to do is pick up the phone and the war will be over. Donald Trump is the guy who said that. I never said that. The war is going to be over. If you have a great leader there, it'll be over in 24 hours or it'll be over. I never said anything like that. The reason why I bring that up is because Donald Trump, David, is the guy that said that. He's the guy who said the war would be over in 24 hours. This is a very difficult situation. You have Vladimir Putin, I think you would agree with me, who invaded Ukraine. He wants their land. He wants to do this to other countries as well. He doesn't care how many innocent people die, whether that be his own or others. And on the day that Trump put in a ceasefire agreement deadline, Vladimir Putin basically says, F you, and some more bombings overnight. So
right, and now, according to what Trump's saying, because of that, he's going to throw more sanctions at.
He's been saying Russia. That for months. He's been saying that for months.
Yeah, and look, my point is that what Biden was doing, I'm not just trying to make it about him, but what I'm saying is what Biden was doing evidently wasn't working. I don't think more sanctions are going to work. Now, Trump's strategy, and you can agree with it or not, is he's trying to bring Putin to the table. Now, you can say, well, that hasn't worked yet. Yeah, I agree. But I'm not saying it is working, but what I'm saying is doing what we've already done under the last administration evidently was not working.
I disagree.
So we have to try a new.
I disagree.
Well, what do you?
So first of all, words matter. Joe Biden at least was willing to call out Vladimir Putin as being responsible for this war and the dictator that he is.
What does that accomplish?
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
What is
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what it accomplishes. First of all, there are a lot of people in this country, because of Donald Trump's language, that think that Zelensky is responsible for this war. Look at what took place in the White House. That meeting with Zelensky was an embarrassment. Everybody virtually all over the world understands that this is not Zelensky's fault. There are a lot of innocent people that are dying because Vladimir Putin refuses to stop this war. And when you have the president of the United States for years that has coddled an evil, murderous dictator, it puts us in a much worse spot now than it was when Joe Biden was president. Now, Joe Biden might have not been able to end this war, but I believe Donald Trump has made the circumstance worse, not better.
How do you figure it made it worse? I mean, it was just as bad under Biden as it is now. People are still dying, and it's not like neither one of them have really accomplished anything significant.
I would say
I'm talking about Trump and Biden.
I would say it's gotten worse because every single time Donald Trump has a deadline, Vladimir Putin continues to kill innocent people. He's making us look worse. He's making Donald Trump look worse. And they're no closer to a deal now than they were on day one. And Donald Trump has already accused Ukraine of starting this war. He's called the president of Ukraine a dictator.
Right. And here's the thing. If he does what, like when Biden came out under his, when he was in office and him and Zelensky were saying, Putin's a dictator, he's an evil person. Yeah, that's great. That sounds nice. It is true, but it doesn't accomplish anything. I mean, you can, and if you're going to, if Trump wants to negotiate with Putin, it doesn't really help if he then goes out on TV and says, you're a dictator, you're a terrible person.
So you're saying, so your argument wouldn't accomplish anything. So even though you voted for Trump and Trump said he would end the war in 24 hours, your argument is, well, Joe Biden didn't accomplish anything because the war was still going on. That's your argument?
No. Well, first of all, I'm saying he really didn't accomplish anything.
Okay, well, guess what? I'm worried about what's going on right now. Okay, and you voted.
Yeah, that's fine. But
Donald Trump is the president.
Yeah, and he's trying to work this war via negotiations. And again, I agree they're not working.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that it is, but it's a strategy that has to at least be tried. I mean, if that doesn't work, what do we do? Just fund this war forever?
So you think the strategy is put all these ceasefire deadlines on the table, and then when Vladimir Putin breaks these deadlines and he continues to kill innocent people, don't do anything?
Well, no, Trump's not doing anything.
What is he doing?
If you break these.
What has he done?
He said he's going to.
I'm not asking you what he said. I'm not asking you what he said. I'm asking you what he's done.
Well, so far what he's done is he's continued to supply Ukraine like we were, under the Biden.
How has he punished Vladimir Putin in Russia? War. What has he done?
Well, he's punished him by supplying their enemy with weapons of war that they're using to fight Russia. That's what.
Okay, but
done.
That's exactly what Joe Biden was doing too. That's what I.
That's what I.
What has he done differently? What has he accomplished?
So far, virtually nothing.
Virtually nothing. Okay, I'm glad you were willing to admit that. What do you think?
I wasn't pretending that he didn't. I'm saying these things take time, and look, it's possible that.
If these things take time, then why did he lie to the American people and say that it'd be over within 24 hours?
Because clearly he wanted to innote a sense of confidence in people and make them think that he was able to end this quickly because it was going.
So it's okay to lie. So it's okay to lie if it gives people confidence.
That he was lying. He probably really thought he could.
Doesn't that make him? Then doesn't that make him an absolute imbecile that he thought that he could end this war just by quote picking up the phone? Then you voted for an imbecile if he actually thought that.
No,
don't you think?
No, it makes it.
You think ending the war could have been, you think Donald Trump believes that all he needed to do was, quote, pick up the phone and you could end a war? Don't you think if it was that easy, Joe Biden would have been able to do it? Give me a break.
No, but I mean, come on. Biden clearly was, there's a reason he stepped down. You could make the case that I don't even think he fully even understood he was president. He was so mentally.
Okay, well, when you make a statement like that, you lose all credibility because you have no medical credentials and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Then why did he step down?
First of all, he said he was going to be. First of all, he said he was going to be a one-term president. You're not a medical doctor.
And then he ran for re-election, so that went out the window.
Okay, so first of all, you're forgetting the fact that he did not have a good debate. He was pressured by the Democrat Party, and I believe
he didn't have a good debate. Why? Because he was out to lunch mentally.
Okay, well, again, what are your medical credentials to make that assessment?
Brian.
So you think Donald Trump is there mentally? You think Donald Trump is there mentally?
Oh, look. He's old, and he's personally, I think.
Is Donald Trump there mentally?
Really
no. That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you if he was too old.
I'm explaining. He's there mentally far more than.
Oh, really? He is
clearly slipping too, but far more than.
All right.
Look, I've seen you say Trump has Alzheimer's. Have you not? Are you a doctor? Can you make that claim?
What I do is I mock people like you because people like you were the ones that were talking about Joe Biden has Alzheimer's because you sound like idiots.
I didn't say he has Alzheimer's.
Okay, you said he's not all there, and you're making the case that
That's not saying
he didn't
has
even know
Alzheimer's or
he didn't
dementia.
even know
You
he
can
was
make petty
president.
insults, but I'm simply calling them out.
He didn't
Right,
even
I mean,
know he was
there's a reason
president.
he stepped. You watched that debate. He didn't. That poor old man should have never been forced into that debate, and I feel bad for him because he had no idea what he was doing. Clearly, that was elder abuse. I don't know how people don't admit
You
this,
you have
but
no
we're
idea what you're talking about. You just make claims
Did
that
you
it was.
watch the debate?
You make
Are you
claims because
serious?
somebody had a bad debate that it was elder abuse, and that
Yeah,
is
a bad
David.
debate. He
That is.
happened to be 81 years old.
And
he
how
just
old
had a
is Donald
bad
Trump?
debate. Come
And
on,
how old
Brian.
is Donald Trump? Donald Trump.
And he's
all right.
he's
Let's go with
79 or
that.
80. He didn't
I
have the
wonder.
same problem.
Oh, he doesn't. Okay. Well, Donald Trump said that he, in the last 6 months, right before he ran for office, actually, right before the presidential election, he said he defeated Barack Obama in the election. He said that George W. Bush's brother got us into the war in Iraq. Donald Trump is the guy that who said you needed ID to buy bread. At times,
Brian, you said he had Alzheimer's, did you not? Or you at least implied?
I made a joke that he has Alzheimer's. I'm not a doctor, but the joke was forwarded towards people like you who think that you're doctors and think that you know the state that Joe Biden was in, and you gave him a physical. Was Joe Biden old? Yes.
This is such a cheap argument. You don't have to know his exact medical record to see when a guy is clearly physically and mentally
and you
failing.
think Donald Trump is clearly, and you think Donald Trump is up for the job physically, then why did you vote for him then? You're complaining about Joe Biden not being there physically and mentally, and you voted for Donald Trump.
The options. What do you mean? Those were the options.
And you don't think Kamala Harris was physically and mentally up for the job? That makes you sound like a moron.
She was part of the administration that covered for him for years. I didn't
covered for him. How did she cover for him? How did she cover for him?
Because she never. Because when did she come out and say, "Yeah, he needs to step down. Mentally, he's not competent anymore"? When did she do that?
When did anybody did anybody that has medical credentials that gave Joe Biden a physical, unlike people like you that have no medical credentials at all, ever say that? Or are you just making that assumption just because he fumbled a little bit on television?
If you want to drastically downplay it,
I'm not downplaying anything. All I'm simply saying are the facts. The facts are, sir, the facts are is that you have no medical credentials. Joe Biden's old. Donald Trump is old. The fact of the matter is that you voted for Donald Trump, and your case for that is.
And did you vote for Biden?
Absolutely, I did in 2020. Absolutely.
So you voted for a guy who was mentally incompetent and could barely be president.
And where's your evidence that he was mentally incompetent?
Okay, do I have to walk you through the entire debate that he had?
I can give you Joe Biden's
infinite amount of videos.
I can give you Joe Biden's. I can
along?
give you Joe Biden's accomplishments, and you could keep making your stupid statements that he couldn't put a sentence together. Oh, he didn't know where he was, but yet you voted for the idiot. Okay, the idiot who talks about windmills and Hannibal Lecter. You had no problem doing that. I could give you some of his accomplishments besides the Chips and Science Act. Besides the fact that he had more gun legislation put on the books than anybody else in decades. I can tell you that insulin was capped for millions of more Americans than under Donald Trump, and our economy was in pretty damn good standing when Donald Trump took it over.
No, it
I can give you.
No, it wasn't.
Then you have no idea what you're talking. Then you have no idea what you're talking about.
Is not good. Is not a good economy.
Okay, you have no idea what you're talking about. Then if you're saying that Joe Biden didn't leave Donald Trump a pretty damn good economy compared to the economy that Barack Obama left Donald Trump, and then the economy that Donald Trump.
Are you going to answer
left
the
him.
question?
Well, I was talking and you interrupted me, so I don't know what your question is.
Okay. Well, I'm asking 9% inflation in 2022, 2023. That's a good economy to you?
Are you basing it only on inflation? And you're not basing it on the fact that we have a war in the Ukraine and coming out of COVID. You're only basing the economy on that inflation number. Is that all you base the economy on? Or do you base it on him? Or do you also base it on some of the lowest unemployment numbers we've had in 5 years? Or the last jobs report that came out, which was the worst jobs report we've had in 5 years since December of 2020. But you don't want to talk about that because December in 2020,
I'm perfectly willing to talk about
Donald,
that. But if you want to,
who was the president December? Who was the president in December of 2020?
That was Trump.
Yes, thank you. But you don't want to talk about that, do you?
What are you talking about? I'm perfectly willing to talk about it. But you can if you want to make the case that the economy under Trump is not good, I completely agree with you. But you cannot make the case that the economy under Biden was good. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
First of all, you don't seem to understand cause and effect. Coming out of a no, you don't, because
dramatically, and people can't afford their household bills.
I'm sorry. What? What did you just say?
I said I understand when prices rise dramatically and people can't afford their bills.
And why did they rise? Because
so
what policy under Joe Biden made inflation worse?
Well, not necessarily. Well, it was really the policies under Trump that Biden just continued, like how we printed an unlimited amount of money.
What policies under Joe Biden made the economy, as you would call it, a bad economy? What policies failed under Joe Biden?
I just told you the policies that were
under
they
Trump.
Didn't start
Okay.
under him,
all right.
but they started
Thank you.
under Trump.
I'm glad
you continued them.
Okay, so Donald Trump you're admitting to me, even though you say that Joe Biden continued them, but you're admitting to me that Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump implemented the policies.
Do you disagree with that?
Hold on a second. Let me just finish. You're admitting to me that the guy who implemented the policies that ruined our economy is the guy that you decided to vote for again in 2024. With all due respect, David, that makes you sound bad, really bad.
Well, that's fine if you want to say that.
You voted for him. You voted for the guy that you just admitted self-inflicted wounds that started these horrible policies.
And again, the other party who defeated him in 2020 was the party that was keeping the same policies in effect.
It's not true.
So in terms of the economy, yes, it is. I mean, under Trump, there were trillions of dollars printed.
It's not true.
And that's
First of all, Donald Trump.
Yes, it is.
That's not true. First of all, Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in debt. That's number one. Number two, Donald Trump did some things in office that did not help the American people when it comes to the pharmaceutical industries and when it comes to taxes. He had some of the biggest tax breaks for the top 1%. Joe Biden did not do that. So you're also wrong about that.
Yeah, but he also didn't try to roll it back, did he? He didn't successfully roll it back, did he?
First of all,
if anything, go on, please.
First of all, Joe Biden implemented plenty of policies that did work. First of all, we had records in manufacturing jobs in this country, some of the lowest black employment numbers we had in decades. There's a lot of things that Joe Biden did, including an infrastructure bill. The guy who you voted for said that he was going to get it done. It was Joe Biden was the guy that actually got the infrastructure bill, bipartisan, by the way, that was able to get it passed. And it was Joe Biden.
So a bill where we just spend hundreds of billions. I mean, nobody seemed to feel that the economy was, people could look, you remember after the debate with Trump and Kamala, where Kamala effectively smoked him in that debate. And then a CNN poll showed that people still felt that Trump was going to be better on the economy.
Well, they're wrong.
Well,
they're wrong.
Well, you can say they're wrong, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is people were they could feel the heat of how brutal that economy was under Biden. And I'm not saying it's strictly his fault. But what I'm saying is the economy was simply terrible under him. I'm not saying it's better now, but it wasn't good then. And you make the case that it was good under Biden, which it simply was not.
It was better. That's
okay,
the bottom
but was
line.
It good? Because you always implied that it was like a good economy. Are you saying remember you always said better than the G7 countries? You always want to make that point.
It was a better economy than the economy that Donald Trump left Joe Biden.
Economy? Was it a good economy?
We've had better, certainly we've had better, but it was a better economy.
Okay, all right. I guess I'm not going to get a yes or no answer, respectfully, so I'll take that. That's
depends.
We have had better.
It depends on what parameters you are using in asking me. But the bottom line is you just self-admitted that you voted for the guy who implemented policies that tanked our economy, and you decided to vote for him again in 2024. The guy who
I literally just explained to you. I don't.
What was it about Kamala Harris that you just hate?
She was because she was part of the same administration.
A vice president does not implement policies, so that has nothing to do with it. She had her own policies that she ran on.
Well, she seemed to support it the entire time under Biden's presidency.
The vice president's job is not to implement policy. You clearly don't know what policy she was implementing. First of all, she was going to try to get back Roe versus Wade. Second of all, she was going to get more gun legislation on the books. She was going to lower taxes for Americans.
I don't agree with those things. So
well, of course you don't, because you voted for. Of course you don't, because you voted for an adjudicated rapist. So I'm not surprised you don't care about gun safety.
What does that have to do with guns? You think I don't care? What are you talking about?
Because you claim
that I don't care about gun safety.
Because you claim that you care about guns away from people. Do you care about safety? Do you care about child safety? The number 2 cause of death in children. What is it, sir?
Well, based on what you're telling me, I'm assuming it's gun death.
Yeah, correct. What has Donald Trump done and the MAGA Republicans done about that? And what have Democrats done? Would you like to talk about that?
Well, I'll answer the question. What Democrats tried to do was take people's guns away and take their rights away to own certain guns.
They didn't want to take everybody.
Yes,
that's not true. That's a gross mischaracterization.
No,
you are wrong, and I'm not going to let you. No, you are wrong, and I'm not going to let you get away with that. What Democrats have been preaching for. what Democrats have been preaching for decades is not they want to take all your guns away. That is a bald-faced lie.
All your guns. I didn't say all your guns.
But you're not specific. You make generalizations, and I need to correct you. We had an assault weapons ban put in the 80s, and when it fizzled out, gun violence went up. Donald Trump has done nothing. The Democrats want to change the age from 18 to 21, which I agree with. The Democrats want to implement some sort of 1 or 2 hour class that you have to take if you're going to buy any gun so that you know how to hold a gun, shoot a gun, and store a gun. What Democrats want to do is similar to what you have to do when you get a driver's license. Okay. You have to make sure that you're healthy. Your eyesight is healthy, so on and so forth. That's what Democrats have been trying to do. I would also
and they also
agree.
want to ban certain calibers.
Then what are you
guns,
in favor of then? Name me something.
Well,
give me a
I'll answer
solution.
that question. But first of all, do they want to ban certain types of guns?
Yeah, I don't think that assault weapons should be allowed. I think that our
that's fine. But you can have that opinion, and that's fine. But my point is, they wanted to ban certain guns for people. I disagree with that. Period.
So what do you agree with? So what should we do? Tell me.
In what context? In
the context of saving lives and gun safety, what are your solutions?
Yeah, we need to actually we need to police the areas better that are where all these people are dying to guns, which again is primarily handguns. Those areas.
Okay, can you be a little bit more? Can you be a little bit more specific than that? So your number one thing, David, on gun control is quote, just police areas better. You cannot be serious. That's not a serious solution. Give me a serious solution.
Again, you're okay. A serious solution is to look at which guns are killing the most people every year, and then figure out where those killings are happening and police those areas better. Look, I'm not an expert in this subject, but what I'm saying is something like that has to be in effect. I'm not just going to say, yeah.
So if anybody asks me about any crimes that are committed in this country, and my response is, well, you just have to police the areas better, you would laugh at me. That is not a serious solution.
No, I wouldn't, because
that is not a serious solution.
How is it not a serious solution? I mean, those areas need to be policed better, because those handguns in those areas, primarily in cities ran by Democrats, by the way, are the ones where the majority of killings are happening. Do you disagree
The reason why there are more guns in those areas is because it's a highly populated area. It's got nothing to do whether it's Democrat or Republican. So that's another stupid
but the gun crime
right
was
wing.
not always that terrible in those areas. That's
all right,
simply not true.
So I want to get this right. We have some of the highest deaths from gun violence in this country than almost any other country in the world. We also have 140 guns per 100 people in this country. We're a country obsessed with our guns. But when I ask David, what is your number one solution that you think should be implemented tomorrow that will save lives? You said, just police areas better. Law enforcement would laugh at you, okay? They would laugh at you.
Why do you say that?
Because a lot of these shootings are happening. They could happen anywhere. They can be in a mall. They could be in a school. They could be in a private home.
Where do they primarily?
Gun violence happens. The most gun violence happens in high populated areas. When you say police it better, that is such a generalized statement it's just insane. It's not specific. Let me tell you the difference. I'm going to tell you the difference between something that you say, because that is not a serious solution, and something that I say that is very specific. The age should be moved from 18 to 21. Number two, you should have to take a class, whether it's a 2-hour class or a 4-hour class, because I don't want anybody purchasing any weapon if they don't know how to use it and they don't know how to store it. If you sell a gun illegally, it should be a mandatory prison sentence. If you're caught with a gun illegally, it should be a mandatory prison sentence. Our red flag laws need to be stronger. If somebody is sent, like they were sent 86 times to the Parkland shooter's home, that person should not have been allowed to have a gun. The 18-year-old in Connecticut who shot up people in that school at Sandy Hook, the mother taught her son how to use a gun. We have to have stricter laws that if you teach somebody that is mentally ill to shoot a gun, that you go to jail. And the loopholes at gun stores, and I should say, what do you call them? The gun, what do you call them? I'm
not sure what you're...
the gun, whatever, gun shows. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
There are tons of loopholes when you purchase a gun at a gun show.
Yeah, but all those things are not addressing the primary killings from guns. The primary killings from guns are, again, just from handguns in inner cities. And it's not just because the population is high. It's because those cities have become so destroyed and so desolate. They were not always like that. It's not like certain cities that are really bad right now were always super high in gun crime.
Right.
But now they are.
So you need better policing. That's how you lower the gun control. Nothing about guns, nothing about how easy it is for people to get guns and mentally ill people.
I don't want to ban people from having guns. No.
Okay, no Democrat has said that, and that is a lie. And
well,
I'm going to
repeat.
Nope. You just said ban guns. When you make a generic statement like that, you are making it sound like Democrats want to take all your guns away. You have to be specific.
They want to take some of them away.
Okay, well, you didn't say that, sir. You didn't say that. I mean, that's why I get frustrated with you.
Again, they want to take some of them away. Do you not agree with that? Because I think they shouldn't do that.
So you don't want them taking assault weapons away, and your solution is keep all the guns out there, but just better policing. And I'm supposed to take you seriously? You think that's a real solution? Just better policing. What, you want a police officer in every building? You want a police officer at every school? You want a police officers at every mall?
I do
want
a police officer
every block?
Every school.
Well, guess what? We don't have enough police officers to do that. And guess what?
Yeah,
we don't have it. Not only do we not have enough police officers to do that, but Republicans don't allocate enough money, just like they don't allocate enough money for your children's safety. It's the party that you continue to vote for that takes away government programs to make us safer, while the guy who you vote for wants to call people patriots and hostages that beat police officers with their own batons. Yeah. And your only solution on this very show, and I gave you 6 or 7 of them, your only solution is, while you bitch and moan about Democrats want to take all your guns away, and then I had to make you clarify that because that's not true. Your only solution is, well, we just need better policing, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. A cop would laugh in your face. By the way, that's not a policy either when you say better policing. What type of policy is better policing? Makes absolutely no sense. So you want to bitch and moan, but you have no solutions. You openly admit on this show that Donald Trump is the guy who implemented policy in his first go around that ruined our economy. Regardless of what your opinions are of Joe Biden, you voted for that guy again in 2024. And you want to preach to me about how Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit and he didn't even know he was president because you watch too much Fox News and OAN and Newsmax? You vote for the guy that talks about Hannibal Lecter and windmills? You vote for the guy that wants to plaster everything gold in the White House? You vote for the guy who literally lies to the American people about the big and beautiful bill where 15 million Americans are going to lose their health care coverage? And you openly admit he's done nothing. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Joe Biden didn't coddle to Vladimir Putin. The war might have been going on, but Joe Biden didn't give Putin what he wanted. Putin didn't play Joe Biden like a fiddle, but he's doing that to Trump, the guy who you voted for, on the day of the deadline of the ceasefire when Putin has more airstrikes and innocent women and children die, and yet you sit here and you can't admit that you shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. That makes you complicit, and you have no idea what you're talking about. David, I appreciate the call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to the MAGA destroyer, Darlene. I'm sure she has something to say about that phone call. What's up, Darlene?
Oh, my God, bro. I'll make this quick because I know beautiful Nicole's coming. But, Brian, David, you are an idiot. Oh, my God. Now, Brian, listen to this one. And I want David to listen to this one. Evidently, he's been pissed off because he wanted to join ICE, but he was too stupid and they turned him down. But anyway, what I wanted to say, Brian, I want everybody to tell me why in the hell Trump got a Purple Heart when he dodged the draft, and they're going to take away the transgender's rights that served in the Air Force for 15 years.
Well, it's also...
Tell me that.
You're right, Darlene, and I'll also add, not only did he get a Purple Heart, but he also made the case that, he had to go through hell. He had to go through a lot to get this heart. For what? What has he gone through? Thank you for the call, Darlene. I do want to go to the YouTube super chat. Very generous donation made by Captain PJ. Captain PJ, thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate you very much. People like you that allow us to do what we do. So I thank you. Captain PJ says every time Trump opens his mouth, he sounds like a fifth grader talking. No disrespect to fifth graders and the economy we were coming from, a Trump dumpster fire, the way he left the economy to Biden. I completely agree with you, Captain PJ. And thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate you. Number to call is 702-221-7283 if you would like to be a part of the conversation. And of course, we appreciate your comments. Dying Breed says 99.9% of men who become close friends as adults when they share common interest, especially when that relationship lasts for decades, period. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Ken. Ken is next up on PTL. What's going on, Ken?
Well, hello?
Yeah, what's up, Ken?
Here we go. Why would kids today want to get married and have kids when all they see is the Republicans making it harder for them to want to start a family?
Well, I agree. But you remember, I agree, Ken, but don't you always hear the Republicans talk about the nuclear family? Like you hear them talk about how important family is. And they talk about how, abortion is an atrocity. But yet after a child is born, they're against maternity leave and any other government program that could help that mother raise that child because they're a bunch of hypocrites and liars.
Exactly. They create more abortions because who wants to raise a goddamn kid in this situation? They're creating more abortions and they're creating more lesbians because who would want to be around a bunch of asshole men?
Well, I don't.
My language.
Yeah, watch your language, but I do appreciate you. And now we have an adjudicated rapist and a 34-count felon, unfortunately, who's the leader of the free world. And it's sick, Ken. I completely agree with you. Let's go to Mike. Mike is next up on PTL. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind?
Okay. So, Governor Polis, number one, Governor Polis just turned around and this week put a special session in of Congress in Colorado for the against the big beautiful bill so they can make budget cuts.
Yeah.
Just so I like it, know. The other is if Biden would have dropped out like his last year and a half and gave Kamala a year and a half to be president, everybody would have got to see how good of a president she would have been.
I think she would have been a fine president. I think Hillary Clinton would have been a fine president.
Great.
Yeah, I think she would have been fine. I think the country would have been continuing to head in the right direction. By the way, it was under Joe Biden. And I think it would have continued that. And I think we would have been okay. I really feel that way. I think we would have been all right. I can tell you right now, crime wouldn't be up everywhere. I can tell you right now, these people, because of these stupid tariffs, the American consumers wouldn't be having to put up the money that they're putting up right now. And we wouldn't be headed towards a recession.
Yeah. I have parents that are as old as Trump and Biden and all that. My mom even says, just like you say, nobody over 70 years of age can run for any political office.
Right.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, like 40 years of age, you can run for political office up to 70. The other is have a term limit, no more than 2 or 3 terms. That's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
No, in Colorado, we have that.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you. Yeah. 100%.
Your guy about guns and issue and all that stuff. Why don't you relax on this? This is easy. One bullet can kill a person. I used to go elk hunting. It only used to take me 1 bullet to kill an elk.
Right.
However, my last elk was a trophy size elk, and it took me 3 bullets to kill that one. The first bullet went right to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
But that elk turned around, got up like I'm at a rodeo and paw on the ground and started charging at me. I shot it again.
Wow.
And it went down. Got back up and started doing it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, I only got 5 bullets in the gun. I've used 3. I'm only down to 2.
Yeah.
And finally it laid down and died.
Yeah. Well, I take your point for what it is. And I don't want guns out there that are designed for one reason and one reason only, to kill as many people as possible in the short amount of time. Let's go to Will. Will is next up on PTL. Hey, Will, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to touch real quick on the caller that has no idea what he was talking about when he summed up the inflation under Biden with one sentence. People, I don't know if they, mostly just from ignorance, 3 rounds of stimulus checks went during COVID.
Yeah.
Totaled $814 billion. It's about 27% increase of the U.S. dollar. That has been proven, and any person that's in finance, which I am not, that increases inflation.
Right.
Along with, people don't want to admit, but there was price gouging during that time because a lot of those big companies wanted
some of the oil refineries and the gas companies had some of the biggest some of the biggest profits they've had in decades. You're absolutely right, my friend. I'm kind of up against the clock here, so I got to move on to as many callers as I can. Harrison is next up on PTL. Hi, Harrison.
Hey, Brian. I know it has to be quick, but, just listening to that guy just a couple calls ago, it just really got me heated. Just been listening to you for a few months now, and I just want to commend you for, standing up for what's right, saying what needs to be heard, and trying to educate these people, because, just the level of idiocy that we're living in is just, I just can't even believe we got here.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely insane to me that we're here.
Harrison, you were listening to that phone call. He admitted that Donald Trump implemented the policies that have tanked our economy. He admitted that, but yet he was still fine voting for Donald Trump again. I mean, how do you take these people seriously?
They complain about things, and then they vote for literally the things they're complaining about, and then they point the finger at the other people that have nothing to do with it. It's insane. I can't believe this.
It is.
I feel like we're literally living in that movie Idiocracy right now.
I think we are too, Harrison. Hey, call back when we have a little bit more time, my friend. I appreciate your call. Let's go to Dave real quick. Dave is next on PTL. What's up, Dave?
Man, you guys' comments in there are really tough, man. Like I said, I know Darlene in there. I like her and everything and so forth. She's great. But, man, something. Anyway, I don't want to go into that in detail. All right. So, I always comment with these people in comments and so forth, and they're good people. So to make a long story short, first thing, and I'm going to make it quick, I want to thank the MAGA for making this country very miserable, for the last 8 years, from Bush to Trump, from the first term to the miserable first term and to the second miserable term.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that we would have learned from the Bush administration that these stupid Republicans who keep voting these people in all the time, and it's going to be like this until somebody can get their head straight and learn how to vote. Because I've been voting, and I'm 60 years old, and I've been voting since Carter. I voted for Carter. I voted for, I know I wasn't perfect, but I voted for Reagan, and then I voted for Clinton twice.
Right.
But people need to learn how to vote, because I'm telling you right now, what's missing in our country is civics. What the hell did they take out civics about personal responsibility to learn everything in society? This is why we took out civics, because when you take out civics, then you get more and more people that are stupid in the schools, and then that's why they don't learn shit.
They don't even want books. They don't even want books that teach kids and high schoolers and you name it about slavery. These MAGA Republicans want to erase history, and then God forbid if a teacher says it's okay to be gay or it's okay to be trans, they're indoctrinating our kids. Thank you for the call, my friend. Had to cut that short because we're up against the clock. Kathy on the YouTube Super Chat says, according to the Moscow Times, due to Ukraine's destruction of Russia's refineries and sanctions, Russia's experiencing huge deficit loss of 2.2% GDP. Revenue is shrinking due to his war spending. Well, I hope Russia goes down the tank. I feel bad for the innocent people in Russia, but Putin is not only killing a bunch of innocent people of his own and, of course, Ukrainians, but he's also tanking his own economy. So I agree with you, Kathy. All right, everybody. It's going to be... We already got some great guests lined up for you. I can't wait. Thanks to John Domenico, the world's best Donald Trump impersonator, for joining us. Some great calls today. I really appreciate all of you. Check it out, pushingthelimits.live. Again, the website is pushingthelimits.live, where you can buy shirts. We had a guy calling today that said he has my Don't Be a Right-Wing Buffoon shirt, and his wife doesn't like it too much, but I thought that was a funny call. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend out there. I just want you to know how much I appreciate all of you guys out there. And your support of this show. It means the world to me. We will be back at it on Monday, and we will cover all the news over the weekend. I love all you guys out there. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Nicole, not feeling good today, so she'll be joining us next week. She sent me a text. She's not feeling good, so we hope she feels better. We will see you on Monday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend, everybody.